They say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet, gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen, in Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Hello and welcome to the Farmer's Kitchen. We're the farmers, and this is our kitchen.
That's right.
It's not a set. It's where we cook. When we're hungry, we actually eat. We eat what, 5-6 times a week?
We do.
Every week?
5-6 times a day for me.
Oh, that's true. We went to the grocery store the other day. I'm just being real here.
Right.
And I was like, let's get some of that. And then I looked at the price. I said, let's see what we got in the freezer. It was really shocking.
It is.
So I thought, okay, what can we do? We're going to make a meal for you today that is really, really cheap per person.
And delicious.
And delicious. You can take something ever so plain and turn it into something just absolutely beautiful.
Right.
So we're going to make you something wonderful today. Ground beef is what we're using today.
Pound of ground beef.
If you want to follow this recipe, I trust that you're going to be smiling.
Couldn't you do deer meat too with this?
You could do deer meat.
A lot of people have deer meat. That's
Exactly,
right.
good
Perfect.
point. So say you've taken your deer, and in Kentucky, a lot of people do deer hunt. This is a perfect recipe for venison because we're going to use some breadcrumbs and things like that to, not for a filler, but to hold things together with some eggs, so you get your protein. And really, if you had to parcel this thing out, we're talking cheapity cheap.
Oh yeah.
But it's going to be a beautiful plate when we're done.
Yes.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take some leftover mashed potatoes.
From yesterday, I always make extra.
You know what? Sometimes we cook for lots of people, and we always make extra. We don't want anybody to go hungry. So we did have some mashed potatoes left over. Beautiful, wonderful, organic potatoes that you fixed. All right, so what shall we call this?
What do you think?
Cheesy Tater Cake?
I love it. Anything but the potatoes, you know I love.
Now, we're not doing anything that a million people haven't already done. But over time, we've tried to figure out the consistency we like. We want to get it just like we like it in the taste and so on and so forth. So these are Cheesy Tater Cakes.
Sounds good to
you
me.
Like that?
I love that.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put some breadcrumbs in there. And I don't know, we went ahead and seasoned those up a little bit too. If you want to put a little onion powder, a little garlic powder, as our friend Justin Wilson would say,
That's
onion, I guarantee. I love that guy. He was so entertaining and always had good recipes. And if the recipes weren't good, the show would still be great because of the stories he told. Now, what we're going to do to bind this together is obviously we're going to take some chicken eggs out from underneath our chicken.
Just got these yesterday.
And those are fresh.
Yes, they are.
And so here's something that we want to do. We want to go ahead and put some chives in there.
Ooh.
So what we've got to hold this thing together is the egg and the breadcrumbs.
Yum.
And that and the egg is going to hold us together. And we don't have any bread tonight, so
It's our bread.
it's our bread.
That's right.
Now what else you want to add to that? A little bit of salt
Yes. Ooh, this is like the
to
best
taste.
potatoes ever.
Do you smell that already?
I do. I'm excited about this.
All right, now Mom, whenever she did any kind of fried potatoes or anything, she would put some garlic in there. She always put garlic. So we're gonna take some ground garlic, put that in there. And something I'm sorry.
You got a problem with fennel.
I love ground fennel. I'm just
You
gonna put a
love
little
your
bit in
fennel.
that. Just a little bit in that. And you know what else would be good in here as we go along? Just a little bit of thyme.
Time's always
Just
good.
a
You're right.
little bit. So again, that's 2 cups of mashed potatoes, approximately. We gotta have some pepper. Where's our pepper? There we go. And this is some telecherry we ground. It does not have to be telecherry pepper,
But it's so good.
here it is.
That smells good.
Doesn't it
Smell
though?
that pepper, yeah.
Oh,
I
you know
love that
what?
pepper.
Let's do a little more pepper.
You know, and it doesn't.
See, this pepper does not bother you.
It doesn't ruin anything ever, does it? It's always just makes
Now
it
the
good.
pepper bandit, if he smelled dead, he'd be crawling through the window right now.
Good thing he's not here.
We're gonna take some hash browns. How much is in there?
That's a cup. Just about a cup.
About a cup?
Yeah.
Now this will give it a little texture when you're cooking those up in olive oil, by the way. It gives it a little A little texture, just a little another yum factor.
This is so amazing. This is like my favorite thing.
It is good. Let me smell that. Let's see what we need. Oh.
I could just eat that if you warmed it up.
Oh. But what's the final, the coup de grace?
Gotta have some cheese.
Is some cheese.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just different cheeses that we're going to put in here because who doesn't like cheese with their
Right.
potatoes? But look what we got going on here. And I'll tell you what we're going to go on over here is olive oil. An old timer a long time ago said this: do not get in a hurry and you don't need to see smoke in your kitchen. If there's smoke in your kitchen, you probably need a fire extinguisher.
That's right.
We're not going to do anything at extreme heats. It will cook if you let it. And let me tell you this, you say, oh, that's a lot of olive oil. Well, olive oil is good for you.
How is it? That's going to help all your joints,
It's
isn't
delicious.
it?
It is.
It's going to, okay.
Olive oil, I'm sorry, you can't get enough of it.
Okay.
Nice peppery finish.
You're crazy.
I love olive oil. So look at that delicious goodness right there. And I am sure that most people out there have probably made these. So now, Mrs. Farmer is going to scoop up some mashed taters
Just kind of make them even a little bit.
and all the wonderful stuff that's in them. Now see how the frozen hash browns kind of give that a texture and a little fun thing going on inside here. We are going to cook these in real time. And then we're going to set them on warm in the oven. And there's a final little thing that you can do at the end to just make them, put them over the top.
I'm excited. I want to make a bunch. We could make a ton of these and
We can.
eat them all day long.
Oh, I'm telling
Okay.
you, good snack. And there's your mashed potatoes. And again, we've got quite a bit of olive oil in here.
You smell that?
I smell it.
I'm going to have to try one to make sure they're good before you put them away.
That'll cost you $1.
Okay, I got $1.
I made an omelet one time, and it's just so perfect looking. And I put a lot of olive oil in. When I want olive oil in my diet several times a day. I really do. You look at the Mediterranean diets and how people are really doing well with those things. So somebody said, well, you put way too much olive oil in there. Nope, no such thing. And that you put it in there, and the omelet was in there in that beautiful olive oil, and it
was perfect.
You could move it around and
perfect.
turn it
It
over
was. It
just
was
like you
perfect.
wanted, and that's how,
Yep.
to me, you make the perfect omelet.
And I saved the olive oil, and we make you I could use that every day.
Yes,
Keep
yes.
making you omelets.
And if you don't have to get it up to the smoke point. Now, the smoke point on olive oil is a little bit higher than what you would think. So it is reusable oil, and if you don't get it up to that smoke point and ruin it, you can reuse it. And we have many times. We fry our chicken in olive oil. So did you see how we were using 2 spatulas?
Teamwork.
Teamwork. And we are, I think, a pretty good team. What do you think?
I do too. Ready to do a flip?
Let's do it. Oh,
that
look at
was
that.
good.
That's beautiful. Oh, look at
Looking
that.
pretty.
Oh, and the hits just keep on coming.
Perfect.
Look at that.
Ooh, those look so good.
Now, you don't want these like fried all the way through. You could probably deep fry these. They might come apart if your
Yeah.
oil's too hot. But this right here, you want it a little bit soft in
Mashed
the middle.
potatoes in the middle.
And I got the one little thing at the end.
I know you do.
It's just unbelievable. Ms. Farmer,
Ready?
I think those are ready.
All right.
All right, now what we're going to do is take those and put them in the oven on warm, let them continue to cook a little bit, and then we got the next yummy thing coming. So now, let's put 3 pieces of bacon in here. Skillet's already hot. We just wiped a little bit of the crumblies out. And the next tasty, wonderful thing that we're going to do involves corn.
Love corn.
As my buddy from Massachusetts used to say, corn. I used to fish with him, and he used corn to catch his trout.
Yeah.
And he had the most interesting accent. He was the nicest guy. World War II vet, lost his leg
Really?
in a landmine. His name was Herb. Herb. All right, now, if you'll notice, this bacon is not completely cooked. We're not going to eat this bacon right now. I'm going to be making some baked beans very shortly, and I'll be using it. There's no waste here in the Farmer Kitchen household.
right.
But what did I want that for? Because
For your
this
corn.
right here. Now, did we put that corn in the freezer last year?
This is corn. You see, you got different colors here, a couple different batches.
yeah.
Anytime we had extra corn on the cob, I put it up.
I'm going to do a combination of 2 things. We travel a lot, we meet a lot of people, and when my dad, growing up, now Dad had a regular job, but he was also a preacher. So what happens when you're a Baptist preacher?
Got a lot of,
What do you do on Sundays?
You got a lot of little get-togethers with
You
food.
visit.
Yes, and you eat.
You eat, and everybody wants to have the preacher over and fix him dinner. And I'm telling you what,
You ate good.
in rural Mason County, I venture to say some of the best old-timey cooks I have ever been around in my life. So this is fried creamed corn.
Yummy. I'll eat it.
Can you dig it?
I can. I'm excited about that too.
So this is corn that we put up. We got this locally. It's fairly cheap. So if you had to guess, I'd say this bag of corn was what? How much, $1?
Maybe.
If that?
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do with this? Well, a little salt. Now we got some bacon grease, so we don't need to do too much. You gotta have pepper
Oh yeah, pepper for sure.
for your corn. Now this is an old-timey deal. It's very common. I'm not doing anything new here. But once that gets to going, once that gets just a little, we're not really frying that. We're just kind of heating it up for the taste.
That bacon grease will
The
make it
bacon grease
delicious.
is an
Yummy.
excellent start. So,
Lots of butter.
I don't remember how much butter Linda and Ruby Cole used,
I said there's never too much butter.
but I mean when you're doing corn.
Oh, yeah, you
come
gotta
on,
have butter.
Come on now. And we don't eat this way every day. And a lot of people say, one of the most common questions, and I bet you we could find one here if we tried, from somebody is, why do you not weigh more than you do? Well, this is like a special occasion cooking deal for us. A lot of times when we're running around like crazy and through the week and we're working and we got lots of places to go and lots of things to do, and you don't have time to cook, what do we do when we have a head of cabbage?
We make cabbage soup.
We
Eat
make
on that for a couple
cabbage
days.
soup. Now we've had, I don't know how many iterations of cabbage soup, but I made one here recently. And you think about that. You can eat to your fill with cabbage.
Oh yeah.
And we used some ground beef in there and maybe some tomatoes. And we made something recently. Maybe we'll have to revisit the cabbage soup thing. If ever we do a tweak on that and we find something that's really
Right.
good,
It's
we'll share
delicious.
it with you. Cabbage, tomatoes, ground beef.
Yeah.
There's hardly any carbs in
That's
that.
right. So I can eat a whole pot of it.
And we do. Boy, we eat that up. We eat that a lot.
Yes, we do.
So right here, we have 3/4 a cup. This is half and half. You can use cream, whatever you want to do. We're going to use equal parts. And you think,
That's probably good.
ooh,
Yeah.
cornstarch and corn?
Thicken it
Well,
up.
let me tell you what. This is another, and I have to tell the truth, this is another lunch lady deal.
You had good lunch ladies, didn't
Oh, one story. Orangeburg Elementary. Anybody who went to Orangeburg Elementary outside of Maysville, Kentucky, will tell you that the cinnamon rolls in the morning, the homemade yeast cinnamon rolls, these ladies cared about the kids. We loved them.
yes.
They knew us by name. We knew them by name. And they would make these cinnamon rolls, Nikki, that were just, I don't know,
You don't get that
out of
anymore.
this world.
But you know my grandmother who had a restaurant after they sold it and moved to Florida? She was a lunch lady. Were those
That's
kids
what I'm
lucky?
talking about.
Those were some
That's what I'm
lucky
talking
kids.
about.
You ready?
Yep.
Just gonna move it in
I'm
there.
gonna mix this around.
So we're making creamy corn.
We're making creamy corn. And
help you?
then we're gonna put the rest of that cream in there. And you could have done that in reverse. You could have put that in there. Here's the secret. Now you
good.
can do this or you can not do this. It's up to you. If you want to do a cream corn, a homemade cream corn, her last thing that she did was put sugar in it.
I wouldn't hate that.
No. And I mean, that's what made her cream corn special. This was her recipe.
Just try one more little bite.
And she was amazing. Of course, there's already plenty of sugar here, plenty of calories.
That's really good.
Old-fashioned, old-timey stuff. And I tell you what we're gonna do. That's cream corn. Not only cream corn, it's fried cream corn.
We turn off?
Yep. I'm gonna put a little pepper on top of that, a little fresh cracked pepper all across the top of that, and we'll put that in the oven. Keep it warm.
So it's our two sides. Wait.
That's our two sides.
Like
Ready to go. So we're trying to minimize cost here, come up with some things that are really good, but really cheap. So let's go ahead and get this started. And like I said, more olive oil. We're gonna turn this on a really low setting, let that start to warm up. And we're gonna take more breadcrumbs. Now we're not having bread tonight, so there's our bread.
So you want all these in there?
Let's put a little bit at a time until it gets where you think it needs to be. And we're gonna put an
Go ahead
egg,
and add an egg.
another binding agent, fresh chicken egg. Mushrooms are optional in this dish if you like them. I think it really adds a lot to this particular dish.
I do
Nikki
too.
likes them, and that's
I
what's
love
important.
mushrooms.
Now, the one thing important, the taste that we're going for here is a very particular oniony taste. I like onion powder. Now, any kind of dehydrated onion is not normally my favorite thing in the world, but to get that taste on this particular recipe, I think it's important. And I don't want to put raw onion in there because to me it won't get cooked adequately this way. And there's some garlic.
Yeah.
And there's some salt. Okay, now this, again, is not anything nobody else has done. Here's our Worcester sauce. If you were to pronounce Worcestershire sauce phonetically, it would have a lot of syllables. And a lot of people in the UK call it Worcester sauce. And some people put the Worcestershire, but regardless, it's got a flavor that is just absolutely outstanding, and it involves actual little fishies. A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know
but
that.
the whole process and the whole thing was kind of an accident, and they used aged, fermented little fishies
Really?
and tamarind. And it just has this wonderful, unique flavor that you need in some things.
Smells
When
good.
you combine that with a meat, oh, I smell it already.
It smells really
and
good.
the onion powder, you kind of got something special. So one more thing I'm gonna do here, anytime that I have a beef dish, a lot of times I'll put a little thyme in there, whether it's when it comes to prime rib, and even when I'm cooking a steak, I'll put some thyme in there.
You do.
It just adds something special. I know that seems maybe more like a chicken spice, but we absolutely love thyme in our beef.
Should we to form you a couple patties?
If you want to, yes. And we'll kind of make those elongated.
Okay.
Here lately, you'll be noticing I fish a lot, so we use a lot of fillet knives. They actually work really well.
Nice and sharp.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take, and again, the mushrooms are optional if you like those. We really like mushrooms, so we're gonna use those. So I'm gonna reach across you and grab some of these onion rings. This is a yellow sweet onion. So we're gonna
That
take
smells
our
good.
onions, doesn't it?
That smells good. Onions cooking always.
Now if you notice a lot of the ingredients that we put into our hamburger steaks are very similar to some of the things you'd use in Salisbury steaks.
Oh yeah.
Same kind of seasoning profile. But how many times you go to a restaurant and want something like that? It's just that kind of day.
Yeah.
You want to, some sort of something that's just country. And this is, again, olive oil. In the end, what makes this the star?
I think the gravy.
It is the gravy.
Using all this to cook everything. Perfect.
And one of the most common things that you'll hear when you're out there and about and people say, man, I can't make gravy. We're going to show you some inside stuff tonight. Inside secrets. A lot of the stuff that you get is so processed. When you go to a restaurant, you'll get some gravy that's you'll notice that you're really like, oh, maybe I got a little indigestion. Yeah. It's really highly processed. But to get that consistency and all that wonderful stuff, we're gonna give you a little insights, a little country insight tonight. So our onions are going in wonderful, healthy, extra virgin olive oil. We'll put just enough mushrooms for us. And the smells already are kind of ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
So we can go ahead and start seasoning this. A little pepper, a little salt, healthy salt. This is not processed salt. It is sea salt that has not been processed and has very vital minerals in it for you. It's a little more expensive, but look up sea salts that aren't processed. You can find them, and they're much better for you. So now that these are going, I'm gonna let them continue to cook. And again, we're not going crazy here on temperature. We're just not gonna do it. We're gonna take our
Ready for your
beautiful piece of meat right there. I'm gonna pop that in right in the middle. Let this continue to cook around them on
Another one?
the sides. And these are gonna begin to cook.
Yummy.
We'll turn that temperature up just a little bit, but again, not enough to set off the smoke alarm. So that particular beef that we took was very lean, so we don't have to even drain this, but the little bit of fat that is coming out of that is going to help flavor the gravy.
Oh yeah.
When you have already the wonderful taste of onions and mushrooms together, and then you have your beef in there and just that little bit of beef fat, then there's your base for your gravy. You're getting started on the right foot.
Those are some big pieces we made.
Oh yeah.
I hope I'm hungry.
This is meant to stick to your ribs.
I think so. Yum.
Our hamburger steak
It's
is beautiful. They are done. I like mine a little more rare than yours. Oh, they've got a little bit of brown on them
I'm
now.
gonna stick this in the oven?
Stick that in the oven if you will. Keep that warm. we're going to deglaze a little beef stock. This comes together quickly. So if, Mrs. Farmer, if you will make me a slurry.
I will.
I'm gonna go ahead and put a little garlic in here. Again, you want your gravy to be very flavorful. So we're gonna do, I don't know, 1/4 tablespoon of onion powder and garlic.
Good.
And we're gonna do it just a little bit of thyme, a little salt, a little pepper. And now, a little more Worcestershire, if you want that. Now there are all kinds of seasonings out there. Put your little all-purpose seasoning that you like, whatever brand name that you like, to make that depth of flavor a little bit more. And to bring up your umami, just go ahead and put a little bouillon in there. And see where we're going? So most of that has reduced down, so all those flavors are there. Come back with more beef broth. We're gonna turn the temperature up. This is gonna reduce down pretty quick, so we gotta be careful. So that's got a little boil going on at that. Now I'm gonna come in with a little red wine.
I think it was a 1/4 cup in there.
Don't need much. You can use red wine vinegar. You want to get that little tart taste going on in there. I'm actually coming here. I got them sitting here, so might as well use them.
Making it fancy.
Just a little bit of chives. Raul gave me this simple formula for so many things. The reduction, that is just a basic currant jelly, just to give you that little bit of sweet.
Oh yeah.
You got some good quality bouillon, some good quality broth, maybe a little red wine, and you got something magic every time. So what is it now that turns this into a beautiful gravy?
Ta-da.
Our slurry. So this is just beef broth and cornstarch. And watch what happens in a very short amount of time. Watch what happens almost immediately.
Oh yeah.
Watch the consistency. Watch the consistency. Look what
Picking
happens.
up the yum.
Look what happens right there, immediately, right before your eyes. Did you see what happened there?
Yeah, nice
a little
and
more
thick.
slurry, a little more slurry. Be careful because it'll all boil off and reduce down on you. A little bit more. Let's go ahead and use it all. And look what we've got. Look what we have suddenly.
Wow.
We have thick, tasty,
Amazing gravy.
wonderful gravy. Do you see what happened there? We're gonna plate this food up because it's ready.
Let's eat.
Just like that. Miss Farmer,
Wow.
I can't eat it.
Okay.
It's too beautiful.
Can I? You don't eat it then.
I
I'll have
would,
it.
look at this though first. Look at the color. You think about the processed stuff that you get out there that is just, you taste it and you know, oh my
yeah.
goodness, I'm gonna need some antacids here in a little while. This is not like that. This is so fresh and so real.
Can I
and
go ahead?
I want you to do the honors.
Wow.
Now look at that.
That is so good.
Leftover mashed potatoes, corn we put up just a couple of months ago,
I can't describe that. That's delicious.
ground beef.
Tastes like fancy, like it's a,
Oh,
it tastes
it
like
is? It's
steak.
a hamburger steak.
It tastes like steak. Tastes like a good steak. Wow, that's delicious. Your gravy, so good. It's salty and it's got the tinge of sweet in it. It's really good. And I love the mushrooms.
Oh my, Mrs. Farmer.
Can I try your corn?
Oh yeah, that's what it's for.
I already snuck some of that.
And there's our old-fashioned cream corn. We got butter and we got.
That is really good. You had that in school? You were lucky.
I think you could live on potatoes. I really
I
do.
could live on potatoes.
So I want you to have that first bite. I want you to get your little sour cream on
That's
there.
sour cream. That's a great.
Just remember that there's cheese
Oh wow.
and everything that you like in there. I bet you're gonna dig it deeply. What do you think?
There's so many wonderful flavors in that. That is delicious. And I can taste the cheese in it. Oh, did yourself on that too. You know,
Okay, I'm having trouble.
I want to eat.
I do too. I really want to dive into that. So you know, Ms. Farmer, I looked at my watch. You know what time it is?
It's been a half hour, hasn't
Our half
it?
hour is up.
That's right.
So that means that we have to say goodbye. But a few things before we leave.
Okay.
A lot of folks come up to Mrs. Farmer when she's shopping
All the time, yes.
and they say, Mrs. Farmer, where did you get that recipe for that such and such? And you say,
TimFarmersCountryKitchen.com.
and then we meet a lot of people who I'll recognize in the store or in another state.
Right.
I say, you're such and such on Facebook. We
You do.
talk to on occasion. But it's difficult to get on our page. How do you do it, Mrs. Farmer?
It's difficult. You hit like.
You hit like and that's it. Our half hour's up again. Sadly, we'd like to visit with you more, but we got to eat.
Yes, we do.
If we don't eat, we'll perish. I got one more thing I want to start saying at the end of the show.
What's that?
Before we say good times, good friends, and good eats,
What do you want to say?
there's one thing that we could do to make the world better.
What's that?
Is we could be kind to each other out there. When you
agree.
meet somebody, let's be kind to each other. It's contagious.
Yes, it is.
So remember, Farmer, it's all about
Good times
good friends.
and good eats.
You want to dig in?
I do.
All right, I'm getting some more of that
I'm
beef.
liking your corn.
We have been catering for a lot of years, and I wanted everything to have a specific taste. Therefore, I had to come up with my own products.
Right.
A dry rub, chow chow, and our barbecue sauce are something that we use in all our catering gigs. I developed this barbecue sauce that is not the really thick, syrupy stuff that you get. This has more of a natural, it's got some pepper and onion flavor in it. You can actually see the particulates in there. You know, a lot of people are asking what we use our dry rub on. Now, obviously, pork and chicken are two of the more common things. Also, we've been using on our corn on the cob with butter.
That is.
I'm telling you, this
That's
stuff
wonderful.
with potatoes is fantastic. So 40 years in the making, Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen Dry Rub.
Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen is brought to you by Emerson Farms Country Store. Something for every member of the family. Ephraim McDowell Medical Center in Danville, Kentucky. Gulf Coast Connection. Seafood straight from the Gulf to you. The Spine Center of Central Kentucky. Wilderness Road Hospitality, Stanford, Kentucky. Visit Frankfort, Kentucky's spirited capital city.